Hello, party people. Hello, it's Randy for Thunderhorse Descendant. I am here today with Softflex Rainy Day Kit. This is project 2 from the little designs that we made from this design kit. On the planned video, sorry, coffee is required. It is Saturday. It's currently Saturday, so I'm hoping that I can get some of these done up. So let me just show you what we're working with here. So this is my little design book. Zoom out a little bit. And we are over here in Rainy Day. Okay, so these are the earrings that we made for Rainy Day. We've already done that project. That project is completed and on the Softflex playlist in Thunderhorse Descendant Softflex playlist. So if you want to see that one, now this is the second one that we're doing. This is project 2. It is a 1, 2, 3 bracelet, but instead of doing 1, 2, 3 with our pattern, we're going to do 1, 2, 3 with our spun up charms, and it's going to look something like this. Okay, so I had enough to be able to make 2 separate bracelets. So I will show one, and then I'll probably whip the other one up and show you that one as well. They'll be similar. So there you go. And then after that, we have the color blocking necklace, a few pairs of earrings, and this necklace utilizing the packaging. So I don't know how much of this we're going to get to today, but we're going to get to at least this first bracelet project. I know that much. So let's get this show on the road. And here are the items that I'm going to be using. I'm still videoing in the upstairs, so just so you are aware. So I'm just gonna, and these look to be pretty much the same, so I'm just gonna pick one and get our beads out here. And we are also going to be utilizing the crimp tubes that Softflex has sent. So these are the crimp tubes. These are size 2. They're gunmetal that you are going to want to be using with your Softflex medium beading wire. Okay, if you're not aware. So that is super smashing that they also sent the crimp tubes. This color of beading wire is called Tanzanite, and this was also included in the kit. It's a 10-foot roll. So we're going to be utilizing those 2 things. And let me see if I can remember how I said I was going to do this. I believe it was something to this effect. These being the base of the bracelet. These check glass. Sorry, maybe we can't see. And then these are all of the dangly bits that we are going to use. So, oh yes, we're also going to use these spacers. Put those in there. So now I only have 3 of these. I assume that is because there was a reason. This one also only has 3 of those black ones. So we're just going to put 2 teal over here, 2 black over here, and 1 teal over here for fun. And these guys are going to have to get all wound up. Looks to be the deal. Okay, so first things first, what we're going to do is we are going to wind up all of our little beads that are going to be charms, okay? Because once we need to have those wound up before we start stringing. So let's take a look here. What we're going to use for that. I think I'm going to use these antique silver ball head pins. I could use these really tiny ones, but these are are for pearls, so they're very small. So I think I'm just going to use these antique silver. Plus, I do have some gunmetal colored head pins, but they're 3 inches. And I'm like, with that. So, here we are. Okay, so I'm going to get all the things that I need to wrap And I think I just threw these things down here because I believe we're not going to need that many. Let me check out the design here. Yeah, so starting after the focal, we're going to do 1 and then 2 and then 3. So we really don't need that many at all. We got way too many in here. That's fine. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that's 6. So let me pick the 6. This one goes over here. So then I guess it's dealer's choice on which crystals you want to use. I'm going to use, so I have 3. I'm going to use, we could also do a little bunch because we're going to do 1, 2, 3. We could do a little bunch after here, but then it would have to be 1. So maybe more. 2. And 3. 1, 2, 3. I'll take out 2 of these blue. Let me do the white. I'll take out 2 white for the next one. For the time being. Okay, so I'm just going to move this up a little bit and I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see. That might be too close. The wrapping. Get some tools here. Okay, so we do have a little bit of metal, but those are going to be in the stringing. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're just going to wrap these up. If you've never wrapped these before, or if you've never wrapped before, it's really easy. You're going to take your round nose plier. Okay, the round nose plier is tapered. That's important to remember. So what you're going to do is you are going to make sure your bead is all the way down. And I leave enough space, so enough space in between the bottom of the plier and the top of the bead. So when I bend this wire over like this, the top of my plier is touching the top of the bead. The bottom of the plier is touching the top of the bead. Then I take this over the top. I'm going to spin my plier all the way to the side. I'm going to put pressure. And I'm going to bring this guy around, creating a circle. Okay, see that? We got a circle. You might have to push this down a little bit. So you have a complete circle. So this is what you should have. Okay, so so at this point you're here putting pressure. You're going to release pressure, come back to the top, and then we're just going to wrap this down. You should be able to wrap this about 2.5 to 3 times, or until it gets tight on the bead. Come in, and we're going to use our flush cutter, and we're going to cut that off. You're going to end up with a little tail like this. You're going to take this. I always give this a squish. Squish, straighten that baby out. And then I'm going to tuck this in. Tuck the tail in so it can't jump out, bite nobody. Okay, so this is what you're going to end up with. Can't tell if my camera's focusing. Easy peasy. Okay, so now this part is what we're going to string on to the bracelet. So I'm going to wrap the rest of them. I'll do one more and then I'll put it fast forward. I'll do this long one. Okay. So you could also add seed beads or whatever if you want to give them length, etc. It's completely up to you. So here we are. Okay, I'm leaving enough space. Now again, it's important where you originally put your pin on here because this is tapered. The further you go down, the larger your loop is going to be. Well, we don't need our loop to be super big because we're going to string it onto this wire, so it doesn't quite matter that way. But I'm going to bend this. So when I bend it, it looks like this. I just push it back. Okay, then I'm going to go up over the top, let go of the pressure, spin this around to the other side. You want to do that because then when you start pushing this wire, it's going to hold that circle shape. Okay? Circle shape. So, here you are. Well, technically you're here. So you're going to let go of pressure. You're going to bring this back around to the top. I always do mine sideways. It kind of depends on how you are comfortable. And then we're going to go 1, 2 and a half. Whoops. And a half until this is tight on the bead. Okay, now when you're wrapping down, you do not want to wrap over the top of yourself because that's not good. You want to wrap 1, 2, 3 in a row. You also don't want to wrap it so tight to the bead that you're going to break the bead. And you have to remember that when you go to tuck this in, you're going to squish. You're going to squish because sometimes if this is wonky, it's going to pull up on the tail. Okay, not always, but sometimes. And then you're going to go to tuck in this little snippet. And you're going to be real careful, doing a little bit at a time, so that you don't crack this, which is crystal glass. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so we have 2 done. Okay, I'm going to throw this into fast forward and I'll be right back. All right, here we are. We got all of our little charms wrapped up. All right, guys, so we should kind of design up how we want to string this, right? So I'm going to take a look here. Now we did have these beads, and I feel like just looking at it, we should add them in. Excuse me. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we could add 8 more beads, right? So if we went here and here, here, and here. This one's blue. I don't know why it's blue, but okay. I'm gonna not use the blue one. They're teal. Okay, so I'm just adding in these beads where I would want them. So then I'm gonna start adding these guys here. I've also got out some little spacers. I think we should probably add a few little spacers in maybe after the check, right? Just for fun. So 2 for each check. Just because I like these little spacers. They're so small. Okay. So now, let's start with our, now that we got, I think that's going to help our length situation. So I don't want it to be too small. So now we're going to start, I have these rondelles, these sparkly rondelles. So I've put the bead in between those. I think that'll be fine. And then after that, we will have our first one. Then we need to have 2 here. And we have this bead. I think I'm going to put the charms before the bead. Okay. And then the next one will have 3. 2, 3. And then it'll be like so, so the bead. And then here, I'll put this last one again before the bead. I think I might have to put a little spacer on the end there as well. All right, so let's set up this side. So then all we gotta do is just string it up. So here we have our spacer, bead, spacer, charm. And then we'll move on to 2. I think I will put this one. So this is before the bead. And the purple one. And then here we'll have 3. Before the bead. And then here 1 bead spacer. So that is what it's looking like. Okay. All right. So let's jump into it. All right. So I'm going to start with a 6mm oval. And I am going to crimp onto the oval. So I'm going to put this in here and get it the way I want it. So it's not twisted or anything. Give it a little bit of space so I can move around. Then I'm going to come in with my crimper. And I'm first going to go to the one closest towards me and squish. You can see there that it has separated the cords. Then I'm going to spin it to its side, and then I'm going to go into the one furthest away from me on the side, and I'm going to squish and roll away from me. Okay, so that's what we end up with. I'm going to give this a little trim off. Okay, we got my little cord ready to go. And we are going to just start down here and go to the end. Okay? So I'm going to start with the spacer, this little daisy spacer, and I'm going to bring it up over the top of this little tail. There we go. All right, so we have bead, charm, then we're going to cap the check with these little daisies. Looking pretty good so far. Okay, and then we added a bead. So we'll add that bead before the 3. So I think it's important that we put the long ones next to each other. So I'm going to put this long one, then this circle, then the smallest one. Yeah, I think that's good. So just so you know, this is the plan for them for once you get your beads on to kind of stick up like this. They're not supposed to be laying like this. You would have to leave a whole lot of extra length in your cording. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but that is not my plan, just so you know. They're supposed to be like this, but there's only 3 of them, so they won't be poking into the skin. All right, then we're going to cap the check. Bead. Then we're going to put 2 charms. 1, 2. Yeah, that's looking pretty cute. And then cap the check glass. And then 1 charm. Actually, is that how I want to do that? We always put the bead before the charms prior. Let me see how it looks if I do it this way. I don't know if I'm gonna love it. No. I don't think I love it. Let me try it how we have been doing it, where we've been putting the bead, then the charm, then we have spacer. Let's add one of these to give it a little bit of stability here, because these are kind of domed. So maybe if I put that on there, it won't. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, I'm going to put both for fun as we move into the focal bead. All right. Just kind of getting it all together here. Okay, yes, I like that. Let's give it a zoom. So we have this one down here, and I know you're like, this is not 1, 2, 3. It's because I started here. 1, 2, 3, 1. Like we're starting over, you know? That's what happened. What is... Oh, that's the wire. I was like, what is that? Wigging me out. Yeah, so I like the way this is going. I think by adding the additional bead, it's given us more length, which is going to be good. I am also going to use a lobster and make my own extender with some larger ovals. So, you know, that is what it is. Okay, so we're doing good. Let's continue on by going up the other side here, just doing it backwards. So we'll go 1, 2, and we added a spacer here for the stability of the rondelles, the sparkly rondelles, right? Am I too close? No, I think I'm pretty good. And then we have our charm, our bead, cute, I like that. Okay, so we got our charm, our bead, and then we're capping our check. And we're just doing this whole thing backwards. So then we are on to 2 charms. So 1, 2, bead, and then capping our check, and then the 3, and then I'm just remembering to put the long ones next to each other. So the long one, this bigger round one, and then the smallest one, then the bead, then cap the check, okay, and then charm, bead, spacer. Yeah, let me zoom out a little bit. So, I like it. This is what we ended up with. So then I'm going to go ahead and crimp the end. I'm again going to crimp onto a lobster. I'm sorry, a lobster. Onto an oval. So I've got an oval here. So I'm just going to put that on into the oval. Come back down here. Go through a couple of beads. Let's pull that. Now, I don't want to pull that too tight. So, especially since we've got dangly bits, okay, this is important. If you pull this too tight, these are going to stick straight out and they're not going to have any movement, and you don't want that. But you also don't want it to be so loose that everything is just droopy and floppy. But let us not forget that this is a bracelet. Right? This is a bracelet that will need to be going around in a circle. Now, you don't want them everything poking straight out like spikies, so you got to give it enough relaxation to be good. But again, they are not meant to be hanging like this. They are supposed to be a little bit tight. So I think I've got it where I want it. Actually, it's not true. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the crimping. What has happened here? Drama. I have had some drama. There we go. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to cover that one up with with a bead cover. It's very rough. So I'm gonna trim the tail off. And I'll get my bead covers because of the drama. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with a 3mm bead cover, and I'm going to cover up this faux pas we've made. Is that what they call it, a faux pas? When I say we, I mean me. Ooh. Get on there, you. Let me see what I got in gunmetal. Or some, these seem very odd to me. I don't know. They're an odd size. I don't know why. They're different. You can tell that they're different than these. These ones I know for a fact came from Taylor's Falls. These ones, I don't know where they came from, but you can tell they're different. I think these ones might be beetle-on ones. They're a little bit smaller is what I'm saying. A little bit smaller. I don't need smaller, if anything. I need bigger. Cover up this big old accident I made. Okay. Let's see about that. Yes. All right. No problem. Sometimes when I use tubes, I like to pick it up to make sure, because the tubes are a little bit wider than crimped beads. So I like to make sure I'm really getting my stuff covered there. Okay. Remember not to panic. Right? Just gotta remember not to panic. Okay, on to the next thing. So now we're just gonna finish her up. Let me close this up before I knock it off my desk. We're gonna finish her up. Now I already got jump rings on here because we've crimped onto them. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open this one. And I'm going to put on, this is a stainless steel jump ring. I'm going to put on my lobster. I'm going to make sure I got this closed up really good so that my soft flex wire don't come popping out of there. Okay. And then this would probably be a fine size, right? But I am getting ready to head to a show. Let me get my bracelet sizer. I'm getting ready to head to a show. So sometimes when I go to a show, I like to make sure that I have things that are adjustable for different sizes. Now this is probably going to be a 7.5. 7.5 on the dot. Pretty much. 7 1/4, I guess. 7 1/4. So that's a pretty average size. But I am going to give it just a couple of extra little guys here just for funsies. So to make it interesting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use a couple, and I'm going to use a round. That on there, and an oval. And another round. Okay, into the oval. So it kind of looks like a different type of kind of little chain, right? A little decorative, a little razzle dazzle, if you will. Now, I'm not going to do too much here because I don't really have to. I've got a 7.5 already. This is now probably an 8. Yep, it's an 8, right? And a lot of people don't like to have too much hanging down. So let's say that you didn't need an 8, you needed a 7 1/4. You're going to use this first one up here. You don't want a whole lot hanging down. But I am going to put, where's that little charm? I'm going to put this little cloud on there. This one. This is for my second bracelet. I'll put that little cloud on there. I think I'll hang him on there with a, I'll hang him on there with an oval. No. Yes. I'll hang him on there with an oval, just in case we need an 8 1/4, okay? All right, I'm with it. All right. Hang him on there. Ta-da! Oh, that's cute. I like that. It's double-sided. All right, so let's take a look-see here at what we got going on. Okay, so here we have 7 1/4 inches. Now, if 7 1/4 inches was too big for you, here's some size adjustment tips. Something you could do is you could do the same, you could do this exact same design, but maybe you take out 2 of these rondelles. That's going to give you a little length. Maybe you take out this bead here at the end. That's going to take away a little length. Maybe, you know, you don't do this last portion here at all. You know, so there's always ways to work around it if you need a smaller size. So this one just happened to work out. I wanted the pattern, you know, a 7 is a pretty average size for bracelets. I did put an extender, 7 1/4. So I did put an extender also, you know, for people with a bigger wrist. I have a little tiny wrist, so if I was to make this for me, I'd have to make it really small and probably like take out this whole bit right here. It'd be really small because my wrist is like 6 1/4. But there's always size adjustment options. So there you go. Now I do really like this. So this is really cute, and I like that we had that one little rain cloud left to put on there for the little razzle dazzle. I am going to whip this one up, and I will just put a photo of it next to this one in the end of the video. Hey guys, so I wanted to let you know I got the second one completed, and it is 6 1/2 on the last one, and I did add a little razzle dazzle, so this will give us all the way down to a 7 1/2. So there we go. I did a little different front piece here. Maybe you can see. Trying to work the camera. Trying to work the camera and do all the things. Here we go. One-handed. Real live beating over here at Thunderhouse. Okay, so. Okay, so there we go. Did a little different beads up towards the focal. And the rest of it is basically the same. I did, to get the shorter length, I removed the faceted rounds from where the charms go, but basically the same situation. There we go. So, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. If you are, I'm so glad. Please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. It makes it easier for you to find me again on the internet. And this has been project 2 from our rainy day plans from Softflex bracelets. So there we go. All right, guys. I hope you're having a lovely, spectacular, amazing beading day. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.